say that the world is round and someone else says it's flat, that's worth reporting.
Should we still debate whether the Earth is flat?
Like they used to think the sun went around the Earth. Everybody say that scientist. Well, he's so smart.
Other science refuted it.
Right, but back then, like everybody at that time thought that guy was smart. Why at this time do we think that the Earth goes around the sun?
There's an overwhelming science that the Earth was flat, and there was an overwhelming science that
you'll learn over time.
We were the center of the world.
You're just taking an authority's word for it, and all we're saying is be skeptical.
Sure.
And while you're being skeptical, there's a bunch of evidence that's totally against the mainstream version. And while you're being skeptical and looking at that evidence, you start compiling more and more of the evidence until you become like me, you know the truth. I don't believe the Earth is flat and motionless. I know it is.
There was a lot of things that I thought I knew that now suddenly turned out to be completely different. They can't just impose stuff on us. They have to tell us about it and wait for our consent. And silence is considered consent.
If the sun was 93 million miles away, you wouldn't see that. We see in perspective. That is, the horizon is at our eye level. And as things recede from us, they tend to converge to the center of that horizon line, to a place that's known as the vanishing point. The sun rotates around us and only appears to rise and set because of the way our vision works. Try and watch the following video without the preconception that the sun rises and sets, but rather moves further away.
The images of your world with curves or as a ball are CGI. You've seen those images all your life. They're paintings, they're computer-generated images, or a little of both. Anything with a curve and the Earth is a fake. It's a fraud. You have never with your naked eyes ever seen the Earth as a ball from space. You never have. But you just have blind faith that that's what it looks like.
If the Earth were actually a big ball, the horizon should sink as you ascend, not rise to your eye level, and it would dip at each end of your periphery, not remain flat all around, the horizon rising with the camera level and remaining perfectly flat 360 degrees around.
All the ancient cultures from the beginning of time have depicted a flat, kind of enclosed Earth. So we have this flat Earth cosmology all the way up into the 1900s when a big push was made to live on this round spinning ball flying around the sun. They are basically placing us on a speck of dust flying through infinite space where it was made from this accidental Big Bang. And we really don't mean very much, and everything is kind of an accident, and it kind of leads you into this mentality where things are meaningless. It doesn't matter what you do in life, but the more you research, the more you'll find that you can't prove the spinning ball Earth unless you're suffering from cognitive dissonance and you've been programmed your entire life. All scientific experiments show that we're being lied to about what mainstream science is saying about the Earth.
If a pilot is flying around the curve of the Earth, then he should be dipping the nose down every 5 minutes. He should be dipping the nose down to stay around the curve. That's absolute proof that a plane flies over a flat surface rather than a curved one. a lot of people have these laser thermometers. Now, you can actually measure the temperature of the moonlight next to the temperature of the shade of the moonlight, and you'll find the moonlight is colder than the shade opposite from the sun. So the moon's throwing out its own light. The scientific community have not told us this.
Now, if you're not aware, there's some serious problems with Antarctica. And when you really start looking into this continent, things get really weird. Like, why are they naming places Dome? Dome Argus, Valkyrie Dome, Dome A, Dome C. I don't know. Maybe there's a dome out there, but does anybody know who this guy is? Or this guy right here? Anybody know who this guy is? These two handsome guys are Captain Cook and James Clark Ross. They circumnavigated Antarctica, and get this, the Antarctic shoreline, we're told, is about 11,000 to 12,000 miles, and when these guys circumnavigated, it took them 60,000 miles and up to 3 to 4 years. Are you seeing the problems that I have with this continent again? It's not a continent. It's an ice wall that surrounds us. It's about 200 feet tall and, again, about 50 to 60,000 miles long. But what's this up here? Antarctica Treaty. The Antarctic Treaty. You mean this one that's completely stopping anyone from independently exploring the Antarctic wall and seeing if there's more resources and land out there, like Admiral Byrd suggested? That's the exact treaty that I'm talking about. And it literally writes right in it that the provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of the 60th south latitude, which is this black line right here. Yeah, 100%. We are being gate kept. We're being gate kept in here by NASA for over 50 years. Here's another, thing to think about the North and South Pole. They should be pretty similar due to the tilt of the Earth and it precessing and orbiting, but one's in water and one's on ice. And the North Pole can sustain life pretty well, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of things living out in Antarctica other than some penguins hanging out on the edge. And by edge, I mean over here and in places I don't even think that this is possible. I think only here where they'll take you on these little trips that cost $10,000. Like this one right here, $13,790. And this is all they do. They come down here, you get to see some penguins, and they turn around and go home. So don't ever ask another flat earther again when anybody's going to be sailing off the edge of the earth or where it is, because there is no edge to the earth. All we know is there's an ice wall surrounding us that we're not allowed to go explore. And if I need to remind you, none of our ancestors thought we were on a precessing, spinning, orbiting ball chasing the sun. They actually all thought it was flat with a hard, fast firmament over our heads, but what do you think? Flat or round? Make sure to follow me.
fuck is this?
Hey, imagine it as a crack in the sky.
Huh.
They're touching the firmament right now. They can't get through though. That's not no space launch. That's firmament. That's water.
Look at that, bro.
Hey, good.
Look at that shit. It's spreading. It's like sky sperm.
They're going through the firmament, bro. They're trying to break it. They're trying to break that shit, bro. No,
nah, man, look at that shit. That's a real ship coming out of that.
Oh, that is a shit. Whoa.
We live in a glass dome, bro.
Wait, what is that? That look like that.
Y'all
got
that on camera? Hey, man, you know you gotta send me that one.
It's like a big tab or something.
That's funny, dog.
Now we do, man.
Listen,
they don't believe what they teach you in school, but like what the like explain to me what that is.
Bro, it's getting bigger.
It started out like a fireball. Now look, a white light came out of the back of it.
Yeah, you seen that shit, right? They gonna say that's a star, my nigga.
Look.
We have a letter being delivered from the Muskogee Creek Nation on behalf of Muskogee Creek spiritual leadership in opposition to Cop City.
I came all the way on the Trail of Tears to deliver this letter to you folks. We want you to know that the contemporary Muskogee people are now making their journey back to our homelands and hereby give notice to Mayor Andrew Dickens, the Atlanta City Council, the Atlanta Police Department, the Atlanta Police Foundation, the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, and so-called Cop City, that you must immediately vacate Muskogee homelands and cease violence and policing of Indigenous and Black people in Muskogee lands. We also ask for an independent investigation into the assassination of our relative Tortuguita, and that the charges be dropped against Weelaunee Forest defenders. According to the history of Muskogee peoples, we originated in so-called Georgia, near the Ocheesee Creek, in the valley of the Ocmulgee River, as individual tribal nations. We lived as stewards and in relationship to this land for more than 13,000 years until the illegitimate state of Georgia negotiated with the tyrant Andrew Jackson for the militarized forced removal of Muskogee and Cherokee relatives to Indian territories. Mayor Dickens, can I give this letter to you? Oh, he got one. Mayor, we want to talk to you about our homeland.
The Muskogee Creek people.
Should I keep reading?
Yeah.
Georgia is the birthplace of oppressive policing, originated with the indigenous genocide and the Trail of Tears, and the capture and enslavement of African descendants seeking their freedom. Our ancestors who are buried here continue to suffer while the city of Atlanta and the state of Georgia deploy the very same escalated military tactics against Black.
Objection.
You know how dinosaurs don't really exist? They never existed. They were invented by the Royal Society in 1841. Fact.
The class Dinosauria was originally defined by Sir Richard Owen of the Royal Society and Superintendent of the British Museum Natural History Department in 1842.
All dinosaur bones are replicas made by chicken bones from China. True story. And you know why you can't use real dinosaur bones? Because they claim that they're still radioactive because of the asteroid 66 million years ago.
In what was known as the Great Dinosaur Rush, or the Bone Wars, Edward Drinker Cope of the Academy of Natural Sciences and Othniel Marsh of the Peabody Museum of Natural History began a lifelong rivalry and passion for dinosaur hunting. They started out as friends, but became bitter enemies during a legendary feud involving double-crossing, slander, bribery, theft, spying, and destruction of bones by both parties. None of them once claimed to find a complete skeleton either, so all their work involved reconstructions. In fact, to this day, no complete skeleton has ever been found.
Okay? So now that you realize that dinosaurs are already an absurd farce. Absurd, guys. When you look into the bone wars and how many of them have been proven false, there is not one single skeleton of a dinosaur that exists in the world. None. The engineers have proven that none of the bodies would work. All the guts would fall out. like a brontosaurus, stegosaurus. You can't prove the Earth was here 66 million years ago. I'm not saying it was or wasn't, but there's no evidence of anything. None. You can't carbon date fossils. They're stone. There's no actual living anything in them. You can't carbon... No one knows anything about timelines. This is all nonsense. It was invented by the Royal Society in 1841. You can look this up. I know people that have degrees in which they're paying off debt to this day in paleontology. They have whole degrees in things that are lies. It's like those things that you're looking at right there, those skeletons don't exist. They've never found a single skeleton like that. They're all invented. All. Was there giant beasts that used to exist that don't exist? Yeah, I think there was dragons.
All right, man, part 4, man. Now, as I was saying now, a few videos back, a few of my episodes back, I spoke on the zombie apocalypse. And now you should see what I was saying about the attacks. Now the people are, and they're desperate. They're desperate for energy right now. We hold all the energy. They were attached to us. We brought them out that far. And then when you woke up, you scared the shit out of them. When you woke up and cut your light on and scared the shit out of the dark agents, the demons. Now they're being controlled by outside forces. They're being controlled by this devil, by this serpent, Set. Now, by them being controlled by this devil, they don't have a clue that they're being thrown under the bus. They don't have a clue of what they are. They're looking for the zombies, and they are the zombies. So this is, you got to understand, by you taking your energy back, by you calling your energy back, this left them with no energy. This left them back with their lesser light, with just a spark. Some of them don't even have a spark. But you have demons operating through their vessels. Demons are operating through the people. They can't see because their eyes are covered up by lower entities. Now, by you taking your energy back, these people are asleep and unconscious, meaning they're dead. They are the walking dead. They don't even understand that they are the walking dead. Now, by them being the walking dead, and by us rising, and by I told you about the Icarus, by the communion, these are cannibals. What does a cannibal represent? A zombie. What does a zombie do? It eats people. It eats flesh. So you got to understand what's soon to happen. Now, spiritually, it will be them taking your energy and welcoming you in as a god. Physically will be the devil's definition. Physically, these people will become flesh-eating zombies. Now, they will become flesh-eating zombies on the simple fact that they won't wake up. They won't get up because they're enslaved by society. They're slaves of society. They're slaves of the food. They're slaves of sex. They are slaves of materialism. So they don't understand waking up. They think they woke right now because they can see, they can look at their hands. They can see another person. They can feel sex. They can feel food in their stomach. This what makes them think that they're woke. They don't have a clue of what being woke is. So you got to understand what we're prepping for. We've took our energy back. Now, guess what? These people are shellless. They don't have nothing in them.